එතුමා බොහොමත් විශ්වුන ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස් දැක්වීමට දැන් අපි කලින් තීරණය කරලා තිබෙච්ච විදිහට විවෘත කරමු ඔබතුමාලගේ අදහස් දක්වන්න. පළවෙනියෙන්ම මම කතා කරන්නම් Ceylon Federation of MSME ඔබලාට අපි විනාඩි 7ක කාලයක් ලබා දෙන්නම් කලින් කිව්වාසේ මූලික අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. තමන්ගේ නම කරුණාකරලා සඳහන් කරන්න.
Thank you. May I speak in English? Because,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. This is our last battle in SMB, I believe, as Public Finance Committee has the authority and a mandate to look at the biggest and the majority of the economic backbone of Sri Lanka. And it has been given the legal statute to look into why we went into debt. And in 2023, there was a committee at that time, government appointed, but no report came. So we thank you once again, the chairman and the opposition leader and others, giving us this time and to see why we are here. First of all, we believe Sri Lanka has a crossroad in many ways. And as a banker, as a chairman, you've been working in a bank some time ago, you might be doing Sri Lankan banking system more than anybody else, how it works. We believe a central bank as the guardian of the economy, and also it has been the judiciary on banking system. We also has done an investigation why SME has gone to this far as a non-performing actors rather than the others. We as a federation looked at many meetings that you had with many organizations, especially Port City, BOI. We believe that they came here with PC councillors and very big people about talking about,
Yeah, just we stick to the, because we have time.
coming back. Thank you, sir.
Stick.
Sorry. So what we are asking here is why we are gone there and what we need to have. So we see the access of finance has been really bad to the SMV. We need some tax concession and also waiver of the debt. For that, I will hand it over to my VP, who we will distribute, with your permission, we will distribute a form that we have done, a very investigation data, so anybody can have a look at it, and why we are here and why we wanted this committee meeting to give some ideas on MSMV and to debt that we wanted to come out. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gamini Kannangara. I'm the VP of Ceylon Federation. The sheet that we distributed, the chairman, is the workings of what have gone wrong last 2-3 years in the country. Especially the bank interest has eaten a hell of a lot of cash flow out of the SME sectors. So if you look at the charts that we are provided with, in 2022 APL, the interest rate was jacked up by 100% by the repo rate or the base rate by central bank. And from there on, the banking group until 2024, I would reluctant to say, hijack the AWPLR and shoot it up to 30% almost. So we are given the chart number 1, it shows how much it has gone up. You can imagine how much of money cash has taken out of cash flows of businesses. It is affecting from blue chip to the lowest level. So when this kind of cash goes out of the accounts, no business can survive without cash flows. The banks start charging 35, 32, 33, 34, 35 for the interest. So that is being the main cause today for SME and businesses, private sector to face this dilemma of hardship. So this is what we have given the proposal in the document. You can go through it without wasting much time. This is what we want to highlight here and educate the parliament of what the private sector of this country have to face and go through it. So we would please go through it, and if there's any question we can answer, and then we'll move forward afterward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So basically what you're asking for is support in terms of writing off your debt, essentially. Is that what you're saying?
Well, Mr. Chairman, not the writing of a debt. I mean, banks have amassed almost 800 billion rupees as profit to 2022, 2023, 2024.
What I
And
want
pay the
to-
taxes over nearly 300 billion to the government.
Mr.
All
Mr. Kannangara, what I want to know is, as the Ceylon Federation of MSME, what is your request?
Our request is to have the quadruple effect is not our own. So due to that quadruple effect, the central bank and the banking system has charged such a humongous interest component, and still they are charging. To look into that. The other thing is to see a waiver of the interest rate that they have charged. The waiver of interest rate from 2022 to 2024. And Honorable Chairman, we would request you to have a public select committee why this has happened in Sri Lanka, because NPL of SMV has gone up to 1.4 trillion now. As you rightly said so, the revival unit, when the SMV goes, I have been a part of that. From IMF, we are the only one who requests the revival unit. Then only the central bank issued the circular. We are the organization, we went and request. Through that even, as you rightly said, it is 0.03 only has done. So what we are asking is to look into this deeply,
Okay.
and to waive off our interest rate in somewhat.
Okay, Mr. Raghavan, I think it's clear. I mean, I think us all understand what they're saying. You know, we discuss later. Essentially, they provided us with this chart here, graph, the interest differential. So, if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that the interest that is getting charged after the hike in rates have remained fairly high, even though the rates have subsequently come down. Is that what you're saying? Right. And then there is interest on interest, so therefore the debt is becoming exponentially large. That is one. And what you're saying is, therefore, can you waive that component of interest that went up? I think that is not a very unreasonable. I'm just talking about as an independent observer here. I don't think that is a very unreasonable request if we can sort something out. The third point you are saying is the revival unit, whether there has been progress. So those are the three things. Just to flag, Honorable Minister, we'll take this.
We'll have the discussion with those data, because some of the statistics and the solutions, I think the banking sector and the ministry will also explain.
Excellent. So, yeah. Right. Okay. So the next one then is the National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka. We have Dr. Lakmal Fernando, Mr. Jayanthi Samarakona, and Mr. Dumindu Karunagoda.
Yes, Honorable Chairman, thank you very much for this opportunity. On behalf of National Chamber of Commerce, we are representing here. My name is Dumindu Karunagoda. I'm the chairman of the SME committee and of course the president of the Youth Council at National Chamber. So first of all, looking at the future than the past, something that we want to highlight is, from a mindset point of view, let's all try to stop the begging ball concept as of now. So, and see where we can look forward in the future that we can have exponential growth and credibility and value addition in the SME sector. So there are a few points that I would like to highlight. So starting with, apart from what my respectable fellow colleagues requested, which is obvious ones, we would like to request the public finance to get involved in a public SME venture capital fund. I think it is in draft level, if I'm not mistaken, but at least equity or quasi-equity providing some growth to the firms. Then also to strengthen the legal framework for venture capitalists, whether it's internal venture capitalist or external venture capitalist. There are presently private equity firms which are involved in this, but they do not have a safe demarcation or a transparency from the legal perspective. Then also ideally support high growth sectors like green tech or export oriented industries, so which maybe again the government is already doing. So I'm just highlighting the points that we feel as National Chamber of Commerce and me personally think would be beneficial. And second thing is conditional grants and matching funds. So public grants or match funds, as in like basically like technology adaptation, digitalization, export certification, financing. So this is something that the SME sector requires, and also not just the financing, also awareness building. So apart from chambers like ours has to educate the public, we believe the public finance will indirectly link to this. Then also something that we want to highlight, public-backed working capital facilities. Now in the SME sector, invoice financing facilities, there are different names the banks call this, but basically borrow against receivables. So a growing SME would always have a receivable, accounts receivable, ledger where certain promise orders, whether it's local or export oriented, will be there. So that is completely scratched off from the banking sector right now. And also factoring schemes is non-existent anymore. But of course, due to the recent changes in the law for the checks returning and likewise, things seems to be positive from the legal background, but again, does the banking sector get involved in the factoring schemes? Then seasonal credit schemes. Now we are targeting big numbers in the tourism sector in terms of cash flow as well, and also trying to see whether the agriculture can be sustainably done within Sri Lanka. Like my good friend, Mr. Jayant Samarkon, who's the immediate former president of the Coconut Growers Association, highlighted $1.2 billion from the coconut-based products that we have earned. But are we doing enough? And our private companies may be expanding globally as well to help the supply chain. But do we look at that as something that the SME sector is benefiting? Because maybe the bigger companies has the capacity to do so, but the SME sector not. So seasonal credit schemes is something that we are requesting. Then last but not least, data and policy monitoring framework. So more than anything else, like for example, in Singapore, he was a former council member in the Arts Council there. So he was suggesting that Singapore government has allocated $10 billion for the universities for research and development. So what have we allocated? And are we getting the government institutes or even private universities involved at all? To which extent are we doing that? Maybe it might not be directly related to public finance as per se, but this is a contribution that the SME sector will require from the government's side in terms of financing to have sustainability in their finances. So, and apart from that, the selected industries may require certain value additions, and also after especially the last catastrophe, the tricycle, I think apart from financial supporting, there should be an emotional, not an emotional support, as we say, emotional intelligence support, I would say. Listen to people, which has been, I'm apolitically saying, listening to people and giving them certain requirements on priority basis, which I know EDB has done to a certain extent. They have collected the data, but has it been implemented, and how soon can it be implemented? So I'll rest my case for the time being. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Karunagoda. So if I just very quickly summarize, he's asking for public SME venture funds. All right. So that's, you went on a whole, explanation of strengthening the legal framework and so on for venture capital funds. So that's something I think the minister also has been working on. So that's one. The other one is support for high growth sectors. So I don't necessarily know what that would mean, but that's, yeah. So that is linking to his last point, also selected industries. So that's more of a policy matter, Mr. Karunagoda, than a public finance matter. Then you talked about conditional grants and matching funds. I think those are appropriate. And I think the structure the development finance has at the Treasury would obviously be looking at some equity contribution to the loans that they provide. And we can discuss that later. Then you wanted public-backed working capital facilities. Did you say public-backed working capital facilities?
As in like the government.
Government-backed working capital facilities. So I don't exactly know what that is, and I don't know to what extent the government can.
But generally, if you look at the current credit guarantee scheme, you can ask for working capital as well.
Correct.
But in terms of bank providing working capital, I don't know how a government guarantee could work, whether banks are willing to do it at a lower interest is what we need to look at.
Yeah, I mean a simple thing, Honorable Minister, as the factoring, which was a highly dependent sector that the SMEs were relying on, and is not non-existent as a product anymore.
Yeah, so let's get into that during the discussion. Factoring, from what I understand, is no longer existing because maybe the demand is not.
Or maybe at a higher rate. I don't know.
So let's look at it. The bank associations and all are here as well, the leasing companies. And I think something that was very important here, he brought was seasonal credit schemes. You know, there are companies that need money on a seasonal basis. And instead of just having it a continuous thing, perhaps something that can be looked at. We'll get into that during the discussion. Then he raised the point on data, monitoring frameworks, R&D, and things of that nature. So those are the points, if I summarize, Mr. Karunagoda, that you made. Correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Then we will go to the next group, that is Sri Lanka Chamber of Small and Medium Industries. We have Professor Rohan De Silva, Mr. Colin Fernando, and Mr. Mohammed Kard.
I'm Professor Rohan De Silva. I'm the President of the Sri Lanka Chamber of Small and Medium Industries. And with me, I have immediate past President, Mr. Mohideen Kard, and Vice President, Senior Vice President, Mr. Colin Fernando. What we are looking at is, as the apex body of the MSME sector, as all of you know, and it was mentioned, backbone of the economy, SMEs comprising over 75% of the registered businesses in Sri Lanka. The sector employs around 45% of the national workforce, contributes about 52% of the country's GDP. SMEs contribute approximately 20% of Sri Lanka's total exports. There are an estimated 1.1 million MSMEs operating across the island. The socio-economic role, the MSME sector support millions of livelihood and is critical in reducing poverty and driving inclusive growth. MSMEs foster regional development, innovation, and opportunities for women and youth as well. The historic and ongoing challenges are, starting with the 25 plus years war, which ended up sometime back, global pandemic and lockdowns, economic crisis since 2022, rising bank interest rates and peaked above 30% in recent years. These pressures have led to reduced production, employment risks, and debt stress. Increased closures and foreclosures in some sectors. Government and financial sectors responses in 2025, 163,207 SME loans totaling to 1 trillion rupees were disbursed through state and private banks to support sector recovery. Financial relief included interest concessions and rescheduling measures to ease pressure on SME borrowings. So taking into all this into consideration, what we are earnestly requesting from you is to look after the SME sector, because that is where the economy is. The MSME are the backbone once again. And I hand over to Mr. Mohideen Carter.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very
Yes, Mr. Rakarana.
Silva, I'm happy that you said 45% of the labor market and 52% of the economy comes from the SMEs, and 1.1 million SME units are there in the country. How do you substantiate this claim?
Sorry, I didn't follow you.
How do you substantiate? How have you got the information to justify that particular one?
He's asking whether you...
Census.
How,
I got from census.
Census. Right. Okay. Mr. Carter.
and the central bank confirms that? You must be having, if that is the case, if that is census, that must be an official document. Is that corroborated?
That of course, Minister, the DCS has to confirm, because central bank doesn't collect data on employment.
That's why I'm asking Mr. Silva,
But
where did you get that? Because that type,
Survey has micro and medium, so if I can.
labor maybe, but the economy, 52%.
1.2 million is the number that I have in my head, but we can double check. It's
Okay.
not census.
Can I just explain?
Please.
දැන් පහුගිය දවසක රජයේ සංවර්ධන මූල්‍ය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මුදල් ක්‍රම සම්පාදන හා ආර්ථික සංවර්ධන අමාත්‍යාංශය ගරු නියෝජ්‍ය ඇමතිතුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් ශුද්‍ර සුළු හා මධ්‍ය පරිමාණයේ ව්‍යවසායකින් සඳහා මූල්‍යමය හා මූල්‍යමය නොවන සහාය කියන වැඩසටහන යටතේ රජයෙන් කරපු මේ ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් එකේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම කියනවා. සියලුම ව්‍යවසායන් වලින් 75%කට වඩා නියෝජනය කරනු ලැබේ. ඒ කියන්නේ MSME සෙක්ටර් එක. සුළු හා මධ්‍ය පරිමාණයේ ව්‍යවසායක අංශය. රටේ දලදේශීය නිෂ්පාදනයට කරනු ලබන දායකත්වය ආසන්න වශයෙන් 52%යි. සේවා නියුක්තිය සඳහා වන දායකත්වය ආසන්න වශයෙන් 45%යි. අපනයන සඳහා දායකත්වය ආසන්න වශයෙන් 10%යි. ඒතර මේක නිල ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමක් සංවර්ධන මූල්‍ය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මුදල් ක්‍රම සම්පාදන හා ආර්ථික සංවර්ධන අමාත්‍යාංශය. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ඒ දත්තවල නිවැරදි භාවය මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන්ම අර ස්කීම්ස් ගැන කතා කරනකොට ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තිබෙනවා. No, these are government
Whether
figures.
it's 1.2 million or 1.5 million, I think that was the question. Everything else is coming from census.